Imagine being 21 years old, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, and having Barcelona and Real Madrid also interested in signing you. Well, that's the life of Alphonso Davies for you. At such a young age, he's accomplished so much in football and still has so much more to accomplish. Despite being the most valued left back in the world, there hasn't been a lot of transfer activity surrounding him recently. That is until now, as it's been reported by Sport that both Real Madrid and Barcelona are tracking Davies and could try to sign him in the summer of 2023. So for today's episode, I'm going to take a look at some of the pros and cons of Alphonso Davies staying at Bayern Munich or leaving to join Real Madrid or Barcelona. Hopefully you guys are excited, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and let's get into the episode now. This episode of One Soccer Presents is sponsored by the new TELUS Sports App. This app provides Canadian soccer fans access to unique features, allowing them to choose in real time between up to 8 different camera angles across multiple devices from multiple viewers to offer the most immersive soccer viewing experience in the comfort of their home or on the go. TELUS Sports is free and available for all Canadians. No signups required. Just download the app on mobile devices through Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Select Android TVs for TELUS subscribers on Optic TV and Pick TV, and web browsers by visiting telusports.ybvr.com. If you want to watch all of the Canadian Premier League playoffs, including the final, be sure to download the new TELUS Sports app. And remember, it's available for all Canadians. You don't have to be a TELUS subscriber, so enjoy the playoffs, Canada. We are going to start off the episode talking about some reasons as to why Alphonso Davies should stay at Bayern. For me, the biggest reason is the fact that at Bayern, Alphonso Davies is already a lock to start every match. He's the only true left back at the club right now, and he's really enjoying his football under Nagelsmann. Making a big transfer doesn't always go as planned. A lot of different factors can ruin one's ability to make the move work. There's no guarantee that if Davies moves to La Liga, he will start right away or even fit in. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Josh, no way. If Alphonso Davies goes to Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, he will walk into that squad. You may be right. However, a good example is Eden Hazard. Hazard was one of the best players in the world before moving to Real Madrid, and he's simply been horrible since joining them. Injuries, culture change, language, new system, and so much more can impact a player's ability to transfer their previous form to their new club. Another example is he could be joining a club at the time where a manager has a preferred starting 11. Maybe when Davies does get this transfer, it happens late in the window, similar to Casemiro joining up with Manchester United. Casemiro is breaking into the first team now, however he should have walked into that side the moment he joined the club, but was still dropped for players like McTominay. It took a little bit of time for Erik ten Hag to give him a start, and this is a player who just came off winning the Champions League, a La Liga title, and is a player who should help Manchester United in that position. It's not unrealistic to imagine Davies joining up with Real Madrid or Barcelona at a time they're playing well, and the manager doesn't want to mess with a winning formula. Odds are Alphonso Davies would walk into both sides. However, I think there's enough evidence out there to prove that talented players have made similar moves and it really threw off their development. Bayern are also the side that took a chance on Alphonso Davies. They plucked him out of Major League Soccer and turned him into the superstar we know today. He's won countless trophies at Bayern, he will challenge to win silverware every season, and Davies has built a comfortable life in Germany. Davies himself may not want to leave Bayern because he is still so young and, believe it or not, is still developing. Even this season, I noticed how much the defensive side of his game keeps improving. He's still far from the final product, and Bayern can and probably will continue to make him a better player each season he plays under them. Bayern have always done an excellent job nourishing and developing young talent. Just look at Davies' predecessor, David Alaba. Bayern signed Alaba from Austria Wien 2, played 1 season with Bayern Munich 2, and then played 11 seasons with Bayern before making his move to Real Madrid. Every season that Alaba played with Bayern was important for his development, starting off as a left back and ending his time off there as a center back. During his time with Bayern, he won the 2012, 2013, and 2019-2020 Champions League before joining up with Real Madrid, where he went on to win the 2021-2022 Champions League along with 3 other trophies so far. Alaba is proof that his time with Bayern over that decade was nothing short of incredible. He continued to develop each and every season, he won everything there was to win in Germany, and on top of that, he got his move to La Liga with Real Madrid, where he's continued to win trophies. This season is Davies' 4th full season with Bayern's first team, and I don't believe that his time at Bayern is done quite yet. He still has a lot of growing to do and more to achieve. Another reason as to why Alphonso Davies won't be going anywhere anytime soon is the simple fact that Bayern probably don't want to sell. Bayern have a strategy around the club where they invest in talent, help nurture it, and they don't want to see that talent leave unless they think it's best for the club. When Alaba did eventually leave the club, there was mutual respect after both the player and the club achieved everything there was to achieve in more of a decade playing together. That is along with the fact that Alaba is approaching his 30s. As for Davies, who, like I keep mentioning, is only 21 years old, is currently one of the best fullbacks in the world and has a market value of 70 million euros. Now that would be an asset that Bayern are nowhere near ready to sell. And even if they were to sell Davies, who are they going to replace him with? They're not usually the type of club to go out there and drop 70 million euros on a left back, which means if they do sell Alphonso Davies, they're going to replace him with a player that probably is going to be a massive step down. The final reason I believe Alphonso Davies should stay at Bayern Munich is simply because of the 2026 World Cup. Davies is about to start for Canada at the 2022 World Cup, and he will get his first taste on the world's biggest stage, and then fast forward 4 years, he will be returning to the World Cup in which Canada is a co-host. Now why is this a big deal, you may ask? Well, like I mentioned, Bayern have a proven track record to continually make their star players improve each season. If you don't believe me, just check out the recent seasons of Robert Lewandowski, Thomas Müller, and Joshua Kimmich. It's probably safe to assume in 4 years' time, when Davies is 25, he will be an even better and more well-rounded player. He will be in his prime, leading Canada into a World Cup in their own backyard. If he were to move now to La Liga with either Real Madrid or Barcelona, I'm not convinced that in 4 years' time there would be a better club than Bayern to help him reach that next level. Looking at it from Davies' perspective, he will have an eye on that 2026 World Cup with an improved Canada side that will also have World Cup experience under their belt. If he wants to best position himself to get better, compete at the highest level, and become an irreplaceable player for his club, there's no better place to be than Bayern. Now it is time to take a look at some reasons why Alphonso Davies may want to leave Bayern Munich, and for me, the biggest reason is simple: it's a new challenge. After only 3 full seasons under Bayern, Davies already won everything there was to win at the club, including completing the unprecedented 6-trophy haul, winning everything available to Bayern that season. So far at his time at Bayern, Davies has won 4 Bundesliga titles, 2 DFB Pokals, 3 DFL Super Cups, 1 Champions League, 1 UEFA Super Cup, and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. On top of that, there's some question marks about how truly competitive the Bundesliga is. Bayern Munich have won 10 Bundesliga titles in a row, and even though right now at time of recording they're sitting in 2nd place, I wouldn't put a bet against them for making it 11 in a row. If Davies was thinking about leaving Bayern, it can be a little tricky to try to pull off, considering that his contract doesn't expire until 2025. This doesn't really help Davies because he has so much time left on his contract that Bayern have no true reason to sell. If Davies looked at the Lewandowski situation and how it played out, it might make him want to rethink signing an extension if he ever wants to leave. Now let me make this very clear, I have no inside information on Alphonso Davies, and I am not speculating or suggesting that he is going to leave Bayern. I'm just saying because of these rumors, I'm trying to get into the mind of Davies to see if there was a scenario for him to leave, how it would take place. So with that being said, let's say Davies, who has won everything there is to win with Bayern, is thinking one day about wanting to leave and try something new. He would take a look at the Lewandowski situation, which showed that Bayern, if they don't want to sell, it can be a very difficult situation for everyone involved. Now personally, I'm on Bayern's side in the Lewandowski situation. Lewandowski wanted to leave with 1 year remaining on his contract. Bayern said, no, we want to keep you, and why wouldn't they, considering the numbers he put up over the past few seasons? Now Lewandowski didn't like that, so he took to the media to claw his way out of Bayern, who eventually sold the almost 34-year-old for 45 million euros. Not a bad return for a player they signed for free, who scored 238 goals for them. Now Bayern did eventually grant Lewandowski his wish, but I mean, a player like David Alaba, who had to do a similar type of route, ended up running his contract out. So if Alphonso Davies is taking a look at one player who made that jump, had to make his contract run out, and the other one had to claw his way out of the club, if he does one day want to move on, probably the best opportunity for him to do so is to run out his contract. Bayern Munich are also considered one of the biggest clubs in the world alongside Real Madrid and Barcelona, so they probably don't want to be known to sell their star assets to those other two teams. Now Alaba left for free, they can't control where he goes, he joined up with Real Madrid. They did sell Lewandowski to Barcelona, but a few months later they proved that they are still the superior side. Another reason in my opinion why I think Davies would potentially want to leave is that he wants to play in a more advanced role. When Bayern signed Davies, he was a winger. However, the opportunity to play in Bayern's first team came at left back. Due to Davies being left-footed, he was given the opportunity and he ran with it, becoming one of, if not the best left backs in the world right now. Davies is a very attack-minded fullback, there's no denying that. However, he can't truly focus on being an out-and-out attacker at Bayern because he still has defensive responsibilities which can restrict him. The desire and ability for Davies to play higher up the pitch is definitely there, just take a look at his time with the Canadian men's national team. He's featured as a left mid, a left wing, a right wing, a striker, and a center attacking mid, scoring 12 goals and picking up 17 assists in 34 appearances. It's definitely possible that one day Davies could feature as a winger for Bayern. However, if that doesn't ever happen, it could entice him to look elsewhere for a club that would allow him to play in a more attacking role. Now it's time for the fun part of the video. Let's say the transfer does actually happen and he joins up with Real Madrid or Barcelona. I'm going to take a look at how I believe he could fit into both sides and which one I think would be a better fit. Starting off with Barcelona is interesting. This is a club who just signed Bayern's best player, On top of that, they spent an unbelievable amount of money in the summer, despite being under serious financial trouble, and they probably still won't make it out of the Champions League group stage. It would probably be easy to end this discussion right now and say Barcelona cannot afford to sign Alphonso Davies. However, after signing Rafinha, Jules Koundé, Robert Lewandowski, Frank Kessie, Andreas Christensen, Hector Bellerin, Marcos Alonso, and re-signing Ousmane Dembele in the summer, I wouldn't rule it out. Now, Barcelona have had a solid start to their season, sitting second place in the table. They will be playing Europa League football come the new year, and they have a manager who, in my personal opinion, I'm not convinced can lead Barcelona to any type of glory. It makes me think that it would be a step down leaving Bayern. There's no debating that Barcelona isn't a massive club. I just think they're years away from competing at the highest level. Now, that didn't stop Lewandowski from joining them, so let's just assume it doesn't stop Davies and he joins Barca. So how would he fit into the side? Well, it seems like left back is the obvious choice. Their left back options are Alaba, Alonso, and Balde, so Davies would be a welcome addition to that position. If Davies had ambitions to play as a winger for Barca, that might be a little bit more difficult considering they have a lot of quality wingers, including Depay, Torres, Fati, Dembele, Rafinha, and their glaring weakness right now is at the left back position. Now, I can't predict what other transfers would potentially happen next season, so let's just assume that Alphonso Davies is the big buy. For Barca's starting 11, I have them lined up in the usual 4-3-3 system. Ter Stegen is in goal, Koundé is at right back, Araujo and Christensen are the two center backs, Davies slides in at left back, the three center mids is Pedri, De Jong, and Gavi, and the three attackers is right wing Dembele, left wing Rafinha, and striker Robert Lewandowski. Now, I think it's fair to say that Davies single-handedly makes his Barca side look a lot better on paper. Barcelona currently have two aging left backs with one inexperienced one, so if they added Davies, he would add a lot of attacking flair as well as some defensive stability. Now it's time to take a look at Real Madrid, the defending Champions League and La Liga winners. Like Barcelona, Real Madrid also have a former Bayern player on their side, and that is David Alaba, who has become a very important player for them. Real Madrid is a completely different story to Barcelona though. This was once a club that would outspend every other club on the planet, spending enormous amounts of money. Now, in recent times, they've taken a bit of a different approach, and it's still paying off. After signing Eden Hazard, they've been completing a lot of strategic deals. Signing Hazard was a miss, but there was a lot of other great deals. I really like the sale of Varane, who they replaced with Alaba on a free, and I like the sale of Casemiro, who they replaced with Tchouaméni, who is 8 years younger. They also know when it's time to move on from a lot of club legends. They moved on from Ronaldo, Ramos, Bale, Isco, and Marcelo. Despite not breaking the bank every transfer window, Real Madrid do know the business side of the game, and right now, in my opinion, they're winning it. If Real Madrid were to sign Davies, he could fit into two positions which I believe would really intrigue him. He would have an easier time walking into the left back position at Barca, there's no denying that. However, I do still think he would have a good opportunity to start over Ferland Mendy, who's a starting left back right now at Real Madrid. If that was the case, here's the starting 11 I'm going with, again assuming that no other transfers come in for Real Madrid. I went with the 4-3-3 system. In goal is Courtois, at right back is Carvajal, the two center backs is Militao and Alaba, left back is Davies, the three center mids is Kroos, Tchouaméni, and Modric, and the three attackers is right wing Valverde, left wing Vini Jr., and striker Karim Benzema. The link-up play between Vini Jr. and Alphonso Davies would be absolutely terrifying for any back line on this planet. There would be so much pace, creativity, and opposing defenders would have a hard time handling overlapping runs between the two of them. Although if Davies decides he wants to play higher up the pitch, there is an opportunity on the right-hand side. Real Madrid were hoping to fill that position with Mbappe. However, after he rejected the opportunity to join them, reports are saying that Real Madrid didn't like the decision and they are not impressed with his behavior so far this season. That means if Davies wanted to play as a winger, there could be an opportunity on the right-hand side, a position he hasn't really played since playing for the Whitecaps. If he were to play as a winger, this is how I would have them lined up. It would still be the 4-3-3 system. Courtois would be in net, at right back would be Carvajal, the two center backs would be Militao and Alaba, left back would be Mendy, the three center mids would be Valverde, Tchouaméni, and Modric, the three attackers would be right wing Davies, left wing Vini Jr., and striker Karim Benzema. Now that's a good looking front three. You still have the goals of Benzema, you have the pace and creativity of Vini Jr., you now have the pace and creativity as well as Alphonso Davies with that defensive side of his game. Valverde has a defensive side of his game playing at the right wing. If you slide Davies in there, he will have the ability to track back, get forward, and I think he would be a great fit with that front three. So in conclusion, I think Davies is right where he needs to be. Still at 21 years old, he has a lot of growing to do. I don't think he needs a transfer anytime soon. Continue getting better, go for that 2026 World Cup, which I think will be very important to him. And then when he's 25 to 28 years old, similar to David Alaba, he can reevaluate then. He could potentially move to the Premier League, which I didn't even talk about, go to La Liga with Real Madrid or Barcelona, maybe PSG, wherever it may be. But right now, in my opinion, Bayern is home for Davies. That is all the time we have for in this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well. Also, be sure to subscribe over to One Soccer for all the best Canadian soccer coverage. My name is Josh Deming. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers, friends.